with Jenny and Ginny. This is the Noonas podcast with Jenny and Ginny.
Dual set.
Heart to heart.
Heart to heart.
Noonas podcast.
Podcast No,
Sorry.
not quite to be 5, but close enough.
You probably need to edit that down because of like you might like just like shoot up like the volume setting. It's broken.
Are you trying to surpass Jongho with that vocal note? Like, 'cause I mean,
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
I'm still shook from that this morning. Like, I can't even.
That's the
I can't
only
even
video
believe.
I'm just like streaming on loop right now. I haven't like gotten the chance to see Stray Kids or SF9s, even though I love like Now or Never, or should I say the Jealous
Well,
song? That's what it sounds like.
It was
The
Jealous.
Jealous.
Yeah. I was jealous that they performed this morning. Yeah. In terms of Kingdom performances this morning. Yeah, let's just say AT's laid it on the floor. I will get into that later, but this is the Noonas podcast. We are back again this week. It's your main host, Jenny, with my co-host, Ginny, who's apparently, I've now officially turned into an ATinny, so yes!
No, curses!
I told you one day I was going to turn you into an ATinny. Told you. I told you, and you hopped right on that pirate ship along with the kraken and everything this morning.
I'm just a prisoner of war right now in the 80s fandom.
You are not a prisoner of war. Shush. You're going to get dragged along anyway, which way. You know it.
Can't beat them, join them.
Can't beat them, join them. So anyway, but we're going to get into some Kingdom talk. We're going to actually catch up this week with the first round of competition ending today. Since we recorded, we're recording today on Thursday, we have a whole round of competition to catch up because we have 2 episodes to catch up on. So we will get into that. But before we do that, we have a few music reviews to hit this week, including a repackage from SHINee, and we'll kind of get into
3 bonus songs of like Jump Shining.
Yeah, we'll get into what a repackage is in terms of K-pop, which I feel like repackages are kind of becoming a rare thing. They used to be like a hot thing, like everybody used to do them. They're not as big as they used to be anymore, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't see that a lot with that kind of format in Western the music industry. I just call it like the DLC of K-pop music. It's called the DLC.
Yeah, basically it's just for all the hardcore stans who really like to collect albums and like to collect the photo cards because it's just basically another reason to collect pictures. Namely me. We also have new music this week from soloist Kang Daniel, as well as Wheein from Mamamoo, as well as a solo debut from the 8 from 17. So we have some nice solo music to check into this week. As like I said, some Kingdom coverage to get into this week, and then getting back into our Rookiepedia. We're almost through this marathon session. We are just about done. Getting into our 5th group this week with our Rookiepedia Kingdom groupings here. We're getting into probably is like the massive popular 4th generation supergroup Stray Kids.
Stray Kids. Yeah. Yeah.
Probably one of the pillars of the 4th generation of K-pop, I would think.
Yeah, they're like bridging from like the 3rd generation into the 4th generation because they came out, like late in the decade. But yeah, I think it's like on our way to like the new generation of K-pop music.
They're one of like the first groups I think you would distinguish as like the 4th generation of K-pop. So, and with that, like kind of the defining sound of the 4th generation, and just really are like one of like, if you're talking K-pop nowadays, like one of the top groups you're talking about is Stray Kids currently. Right. So we're definitely going to dig into their discography and their history today. And reasons why I think both me and Ginny actually stand them pretty well, I think. I know I'm a stay.
Yeah, I'm a casual. I think I
You're a
like
casual
know more
stay.
like the big like their bigger hits
Hmm.
in their discography. Haven't
Hmm.
yet like delved into like the B sides. So I think that you'll be able
Okay.
to like the one to like show some of those other underrated singles too from them.
Those underrated B-sides. Yeah. I mean, and I mean, I fell into this Stray Kids fandom hard last summer. So, and I feel kind of bad because I could have seen them pre-pandemic. So,
Yeah,
that's what's
yeah.
up.
My sister before I started going into like K-pop, she's been blasting a lot of Stray Kids back then during our vacations. Like I can't get away without hearing like the first verse of My Pace. It was like, oh my god, what are you like? Stop it! Stop it! Nah, nah,
Well,
nah, 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 nah. I was like, oh god.
I'll have to get into my Stray Kids story when we get into our Wikipedia session because, like, my Spotify was really trying to get me to be a stay for a long, long time before I really like became a stay.
Stand Stray Kids.
It's like, oh, it was hard. Like, I mean, I became an A-Tinny before I became a stay. Let's put it that way.
Ah,
Like, because my Spotify was really pushing me to be an A-Tinny and a stay, and like I became an A-Tinny so hard, and then
if
it
you like
took me a while to
18,
become it took me a while to become a stay, but
right?
hilariously enough,
You're
a
a
lot
stay
of
teenies. You're a
there are
stay
a lot of
teenies.
stay tinnies out there. Lot of crossover between stays and A-Tinny. So stay tinnies rise. But let's get into our album reviews this week. Looks like we got a lot of new music to cover this week. So let's get into it. Should we just start with, I guess, the big one of the week? Should we start with SHINee?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's the one like the most popular ones that we're going to be covering.
Oh, for sure. I mean, SHINee's, obviously, we've talked about SHINee in depth here on the show, and obviously we were glowing about their seventh album when Don't Call Me came out. Now, God, when did Don't Call Me come out? February? It wasn't
Yeah,
that long
February.
ago.
Yeah, February. It felt
So,
like it felt like yesterday until like they started coming with like a new repackaged album. Like whoa,
mhm.
already? It's like wow, that's too soon.
Yeah, I mean, usually repackages, I mean, depending on the group and depending on the timing, sometimes repackages come like a few months later. But
Right.
like they really turned around and quickly on the repackage. It was like almost like 6-7 weeks later. We're getting a repackage from SHINee in terms of the timing. Here in terms of like, I feel like they just ended the promotions with Don't Call Me, and then like they
Mm.
just started the promotions,
Okay.
like the
Anyways,
teasing for Atlantis.
Moving on. We're going into the Atlantis.
Pretty much. And like, yeah, and we just started like all the teasing into Atlantis. And then here we are with the seventh album repackaged with Atlantis. And the title track from this repackage with Atlantis. So basically what the repackage is like, you basically get this most, if not all of the songs from the previous album with a couple new songs added in. It depends on the group, depends on the album. It really honestly depends. A lot of times groups will either rearrange the songs, the order. Sometimes they'll just literally copy paste the same order of everything being
So
in there.
again, it's called the DLC, like in video game standards, like it's just a DLC because they like just rearrange. Yeah, so rearrange songs with like a lot of bonus tracks. That's pretty much it. It's like the extended version. It's like the SHINee cut. Release the SHINee cut.
The SHINee cut, and like the Shawa cut. Like if you wanted to, there should be like a Shawa version or like the SHINee version. Like I don't know. But I mean,
like
I guess
it's like 4 hours of what the hell.
But I mean, I just want to hear your thoughts on the new songs because we basically with this we got 3 new songs with the repackage. We got the title track Atlantis as well as 2 new songs, and I guess I just want to hear your thoughts on what you thought of the new songs.
Yeah, because for me, I think it's like having a first impression with like a new single or like from a repackaged album. It feels like it's kind of hard to beat from your like previous hit, which for SHINee it would be Don't Call Me, because it was like really bombastic with like their comeback, especially when it was like it's been a long time since they were together after like a lot of them were in the military service. So like Don't Call Me was like blew out like everyone's expectations, and it blew everyone away. So it kind of felt nervous when when they have like another track with Atlantis, and with that I was I enjoyed it pretty much with there's with their new songs, and I still prefer Don't Call Me because of like some of the so much of the hype that went behind it. But Atlantis is like I appreciate like how pulled back the production sounds. I think it like went into like more like a retro like neo disco funk era in music because SHINee is like able to pull those kinds of sound, like that kind of music off since they were so inspired by those music genres in the past. And yeah, no, I'm just like I just thought it would be like a fun song to play in the summer, and kind of reminds me of like some of their other songs before, like Married to the Music. I recommend you guys like watching the video and listening to the song Married to the Music. And it had like the five of them, the five original members, like like have like this really funky beat into it, and some of the visuals there has like this really weird, a bit of like an eerie tone to the content, because in Married to the Music it was like more of like a Halloween theme, and a lot of like the members are like losing like some of like their body parts, so it's kind of weird in a kind of a quirky, funny way. And for this one, for this with Atlantis, like they're in this really strange and bizarre setting where they're first like they're in a store. Some of the visuals there kind of reminds me of like Bikini Bottom. I was joking about it until I saw people started like comparing some of like the pictures with like SpongeBob like screenshots, like, oh no. Anyways, like they started from like a store of them like with like a lot of Atlantis like product stuff in there, and then they started like transporting into like the world Atlantis itself, and started like singing and performing in like an underworld underworld setting,
underwater kind of setting,
underwater. I was just like, it's like it's really bright and vibrant, like it's kind of like typical of SHINee, because they really have this really bright like like sound or tone to them, and it really helps out with like this really visual colors that they were able to provide in the single. So overall, I really enjoyed Atlantis. Even I'm glad my sister was able to appreciate that as well. And the other songs, Area and Days and Years, it has like a really takes me back to like when I started listening to like 2000s pop and R&B music. That's how I felt, because like their sound, whenever they sing or their music they produce, it kind of goes back into like to like an era where like pop music was at its prime, so to say. How about you, Jenny? I wonder what like your how you describe SHINee, or like analyze music.
I kind of liked Atlantis. Like it really kind of put me in the summery vibe, just kind of with it had a really kind of cool vibe to the song. It really puts you in a summery mood. I do like the allegories, kind of, your love is like is deeper than the ocean. I like the usage of waves. I love all that like illustrative language they use in the song. And yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of funny when you showed me that the SpongeBob Atlantis screen clips, and I was just like, this is scary.
It's tempting me to do another freaking edit. So instead of like the Atlantis, they're gonna like put like a bunch of SpongeBob songs.
Not that people have not already done that on TikTok with SHINee moments, especially as of late. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, I really did like the song. I mean, it definitely is kind of harkens back to more like classic SHINee, I feel like, versus what we got with Don't Call Me. When Don't Call Me was very, hip hop heavy, very
it's vastly different from how they done before.
Right. Where Don't Call Me was like really trying to like was going in a new direction with them, where like they were going very like more hip hop heavy, but they still had some like that funk undertone to it, kind of curbing a little bit off of fourth generation. But I think they did a really good job kind of curbing a little bit off of fourth gen sounds and styling a little bit, but still made it feel like their own. This feels really kind of more to form for them in terms of going back to their funk R&B roots. And I mean, I like it. I think it's a good song. But yeah, I mean, in terms of a repackage, like I still feel like it's a little unnecessary, especially because we just had Don't Call Me come out like 7 weeks ago. So It's a little bit unnecessary that we kind of got it so soon. I feel like, I
Mhm.
mean, we could maybe waited a little bit.
Yeah,
I
if they like added more songs other than just three.
Yeah, I feel like I wonder if they're just pushing this out further or like they're pushing like stuff out quicker right now because I feel like they want to get a lot out before Taemin has to go to the military.
Yeah, I think it
'Cause
makes sense that
I
like
think
they try to
what
put this out quickly.
that's what my gut feeling's telling me right now because like I feel like because they're talking
Mhm.
about trying to do stuff with like Taemin for like a solo work. Like I think they want to get like a
Right.
SHINee concert in, like another Taemin solo concert. All this before he has to enlist. So, which I mean, Taemin still technically I think has a year. Yeah, before he has to enlist, because I think he's 93. He's a 93 liner, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he has a year, I think, technically, to wait. But I mean, the sooner you get in, the sooner you get out. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
and
mean,
also another feedback that I kind of like noticed with a lot of like I think like a lot of like SM groups because I know
mhm,
I can kind of tell like I think I can predict like what like some like the compositions or like the line distribution, so what's
mhm,
happening within the songs. Like I know like every time like they get into like the final bridge into the final chorus, it's always gonna be Taemin and On You like doing like they're belting out their singing. So
mhm,
I kind of felt like okay, maybe we should just maybe change it up a bit. With their like with the how they distribute some of the members
mhm,
and like where they placing them and where they'd sing, so they could have like had like key or like Mino like I guess like rap like the final verse or the final
mhm.
like bridge way to the chorus, kind of like how they did with like Lucifer. So maybe just like
Right.
just shift some of the compositions a bit. That's pretty much what I have in mind for like a feedback.
Just a little bit more experimentation in terms of like line distribution or just like
Right.
arrangement of song, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. No, I agree with that because it gets a little stale, like when you kind of like are expecting the same, like across the board in terms of like their vocal line distribution. So, and I agree with
Right.
that. It does get stale after a while because it's like you like to like hear people mix it up and try different things in terms of like composition. So, but yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, I will say this. I mean, it's a bit of unnecessary of a repackage. I still somehow weirdly it flows together really well. Weirdly with Atlantis into Code into Don't Call Me somehow
Oh,
flows
right.
together
Right.
weirdly well. I don't know how, but it does.
Yeah, because like I think Atlantis and Code, I love those songs. I think Code's my favorite song from the Don't Call Me era,
Mhm,
and yeah, like they have like a really like that similar tone of like and
mhm,
even their musical keys between Atlantis and Code. So that's why
yeah.
it makes sense that they transition well from each other.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
And
only
then
kind of like
Code just being very hip hop, I think just translates well into Don't Call Me. So.
yeah, well, yeah, it's like a mix of like hip hop and a bit of like the EDM sounds you can hear from the
Mhm,
80s. So it's like a really, I think like a bridgeway to like the pop funk version into like the more hip hop side. So it's a
mhm,
good arrangement for there.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kind of confused, like, cause like with the Don't Call Me, it kind of has like this really like vengeful side of like looking into like past love and
Mhm,
heartbreak. Even though like the teaser
mhm.
of Don't Call Me has this kind of like weird, um, like the X-Files kind of vibe. Like if you know the
Right.
trailer, because there's like the
Mhm.
kind of aliens like type of like theme into it,
Yeah.
like moving on to like the mythical world of Atlantis. So like I don't know like how they made some of those concepts up.
Who knows? And they're never going to explain them. We know this,
But yeah, I'm just like it's just weird. Like
unfortunately.
how does this connect with the Call Me and like into the Atlantis? I'm just like I don't know.
The world may never know, unfortunately. But
Jumping
yeah,
off
I
into
mean,
like different worlds or something like that. I don't know.
we're going to Disney World. But no, let's I guess those are our thoughts on Atlantis, but let's get into our next album. So we're gonna get into all of our solos of the week here. We have, like I said, we've had a lot of solo work coming out as of late here. So
Right?
um yeah, it's a lot of which I appreciate. I like hearing like a lot of solo work coming out as of late here. So
Right. Yeah.
um but we're going to get into our first solo artist of the week, and we're going to get into Kang Daniel, formerly of Wanna One, and his fourth EP, Yellow, part of this color series he's been
I
working on.
I love how creative like this like his album titles have been. Like, okay, we have like Cyan, then we have like Yellow, or what is it like his other
Well, I get why he's doing, because his first EP was Color on
color?
Me, and
Oh,
then
color.
was called Color on Me, and then now he's been doing this color series with cyan, magenta, and yellow. And if you know anything about
Right.
printing, those are the three colors you use for printing
Mm.
to mix everything, to you print things out in
This next comeback is gonna be called like Printer or something, the Printer series.
No, I think he's been using it to like kind of set himself and establish himself post 101 career.
Hmm.
I think, especially with everything that kind of happened post 101. For those of you who don't know, so Kang Daniel is basically it was basically the winner of Produce 101 season 2. So he was like the top idol out of that season. And so he got to be in the group 101, and he was probably like the top artist out of 101. You know,
The most
101 was,
recognized
yeah,
member.
and 101 was extremely successful, like hands down. Like, I think they're still like, their songs are still like recognized to this day, and they haven't been around since 2018. So, because they were only together for like a year and a half. And so, you know, they did their little limited engagement with Together's 101, and then they all went their separate ways. And then Kang Daniel basically, there's some interesting strife, because like I know there were like dating rumors for him, and I know he went through some like legal stuff and everything like that. And he actually like established his own agency, his own label. And so like he's been like just really hustling and just trying to like
Mm-hmm.
make his own like in the world. And he's really become like one of like the top male soloists out there, hands down. Like he's very recognizable as being like one of the top male K-pop idol soloists.
He's kind of like the equivalent of like Chungha, since Chungha also came from like
Yes.
another produce group with IOI, and now
Yes.
she's becoming like a really like well known soloist for herself as well. So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of felt like like both of them have like this really similar like venues that they're that they're venturing out of, and they're pretty successful in their own as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are. So, I mean, basically, he's been doing everything under his own label called Connect Entertainment that he set and established after he left his previous label, and, you know, went through all the legal trouble of like leaving his previous agency in 2019. And so it's just been kind of, going through there. And yeah, I think he's been doing really, really well, with it. I think, I mean, I really do dig everything that he's been coming up with. And I mean, even this mini album with Yellow, and the title track, Antidote, I think is really good. I think it just kind of continues to solidify and kind of help him figure out like where he wants to go as a soloist, because he's still trying to figure out like what he wants to do, where he's gonna go in terms of like his sound and his style.
Yeah, his identity mostly.
Which, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, watching the music video, I got a lot of Interlude Shadow vibes from BTS.
Yeah, I think it feels like a really moody, more of like a poppy interlude shadow, because
Right.
it kind of has like a really really dark and sinister undertones when it comes to his themes. Because it felt like his album Yellow really delves into like some like the more negative psyche, like having this like really like desperate and like really like I guess like the like paranoid state of mind, but like covered it in a bunch of really sensual and artistic music that's able to make you like really groove into like the music. It's kind of like like emo club banger. That's how I say it. That's how I put it.
Yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like emo club banger is definitely kind of like where I would put this. Because I'm not gonna lie, like Paranoia, I think is hands down my favorite song of his to date. I mean, Paranoia he released back in February as like a pre-released
Yeah,
to this, which is I think his best song to date, and I think has been his most successful song to date. I mean, it got all the way onto the Billboard World Digital Songs chart, all the way up to number 5, which is really, really good. I mean, it's I really love Paranoia. I think it's an amazing song. I really I highly recommend you should go listen to Paranoia. I
Yeah, I
think it's a
think it was
great
my
song.
first time recently listening to a lot of like Kang Daniel's songs, but including Paranoia and
Mhm.
Antidote, which came out like more recently this week. And yeah, no, like I've been enjoying a lot of his work. It kind of reminds me of a lot of like established singers, like with Taemin and Wonho. They have the
Mhm.
really sexy beat into like their music. But I think he's becoming to have hopefully being able to branch out into his own style, but still having that really sexy beat to like his music. So yeah,
Yes.
no, he's getting there.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's really like kind of figuring out where he's going to go and where he's saying. Like I said, he's finding his true colors, as he's been saying,
Yeah.
and um, and I think I mean, he said this, not me. But I think he's just really like, yeah, I really like the fact like he's playing a lot with like instrumentation, kind of like Wonho, like Baekhyun with their solo stuff, more than like electronic sounds. I mean, there's a little bit of electronic influence in there. With obviously we see a lot with pop artists nowadays, but I don't think it's as overbearing as we see with a
Hmm.
lot of K-pop.
Hmm.
It's just kind of in the background. So like obviously the instrumentation kind of shines through a little bit better. And yeah, I mean his vocals are really, really good. He's I think got some of the smoothest vocals out there. There's a
Right.
reason why he won Produce 101 season 2, I think.
Yeah.
And his
Is
vocals
he?
show.
Yeah. So like, is he considered when he was back in 101? Like, what was his position formerly?
And are you talking in 101?
Yeah, 101. Like, is he like supposed to be like the main vocalist, or like what was his position?
Oh my goodness, I have to
Yeah.
remember now what he was in 101 as main position. He was I don't know if they really had positions in 101. That's the thing, because like everyone
Okay.
was just
Because.
kind of, they're all, the top, I think the top 11 in the proto season. So,
Mhm. Yeah, because
but
like, I don't know if I consider him like, because I don't know if I can pinpoint like what kind of like strength that he lies upon, because I think I don't
mhm,
know if his strengths lie more in like vocals or in his like performance, because I think he feels like I'm an all rounder. Like, he can be able to like balance a lot of those stuff himself.
mhm.
Yeah, and I wonder too, like was he able? Did he rap at some of this stuff from the album, or
Yeah,
did he actually bring in?
I'm just checking. I'm just checking. He was the main dancer, lead rapper, sub vocalist, and center of 101.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
can.
so 'cause you can definitely tell he has some rap skills because they're definitely in the antidote. He has some of that in there too.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was kind of like confused because I was like listening to a lot of those. So when I was going out for a walk, and I was like wondering like, wait, did he bring in some like featured rappers in there, or or are these all him? Because
Right.
I'm really impressed because if he does rap and sing is like nice, not it's really impressive.
Yeah. His because even being considered like the sub vocalist in 101 and like and still have this in terms of his singing prowess is really impressive. I mean, and obviously you look at the music video for Antidote, and yeah, he is a dancer. Like you can tell he's a dancer.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean his vocals like are super smooth and like stable throughout.
Yeah.
And he's super talented. Like I said, there's a reason why he is considered one of the top male soloists out there currently in K-pop.
No, I agree too because I haven't like seen a lot of like Kang Daniel
Hmm.
until recently. So I think thanks to this album, I think I should be really looking forward into a lot of his music more.
Yeah, no, I really agree. Yeah, his stuff is good. Like, go check out any of his back catalog. Check out Magenta or Cyan, or go check out
Yeah,
Color Me. Any of his previous stuff, like super good. There's some
I
really good
should.
stuff in there. So I
Yeah,
really
I think
highly
my
recommend it.
my favorite one from the Yellow album. I think I like the digital. It's like the first
Hmm.
introductory track of the album. Kind of really kicks up into like where you'd probably expect what you're gonna listen or what you'd hear from the album. It kind
Hmm.
of reminds me of something that the Weeknd would produce as well when it comes to music. That's what it kind of reminds me of, like the Weeknd.
Yeah, I got a little Blinding Lights vibe when I first
Right.
heard digital, but it kind of turned on its head a little bit, and I was like, "Ooh, I like where this is going a little bit." So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but then also like have to say, like, is everyone doing the '80s synth thing now? Like, so I feel
I
like we're
think.
hearing
I
it a
think.
ton.
I
because
think
everyone's been covering in it.
I think we're reaching like the renaissance of like 80s music with a lot of like music, not just from K-pop, but even like American music as well.
Yeah.
So
I think so. I think we're kind of getting to that point where everyone's kind of recycling back to the 80s. So it's always we're always upcycling music, I feel like. So, but yeah, no, I really highly recommend it. I'm looking forward because now that I think he's done with this color series and looking forward to seeing where he's going to go from there. I mean, he's been working now with a lot of he's kind of been working on some like stuff with Western artists and stuff too. So
right.
he's really, I think, kind of like setting himself out there and establishing. He's getting even bigger here in the Western world too. So
Yeah,
I'm looking
I
forward
heard
to
that
seeing
he's
where he's
like
going.
been like starring in like some kind of like work from Disney Plus. I don't know if it's him or
Yeah.
another. Yeah.
Some rumor supposedly that he's going to be starring in something on Disney Plus, I think,
Yeah,
or
like some kind of some like K-drama show, or I feel
I
like
don't
it's
know.
like some Asian related like show is gonna be they might be producing.
Yeah, we have no idea. We will, if we once we know, we will let you guys know. So but let's get into our third album of this week. So let's get into Wheein from Mamamoo, and with her second, I think this is her second EP that she's released with watercolor, or with red, excuse me, and her title track Watercolor.
Right.
And
Yeah. I haven't. I was kind of surprised because I thought she hasn't like done some solo work. I thought like it's like some like separate like songs that she's done in the past, but not like a full composed album. But no, I'm surprised it's actually her comeback. Her comeback considered. And then it's like a really full album that she's able to do. It's like okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's their second solo mini. So I mean she's had some more, because I think she's done a couple K-drama OSTs and stuff too. So she's had a couple other like side solo things that she's done. But I don't know, I really dig Mamamoo's style. I mean, I love their R&B side, and like Wiian comes and takes that again into her solo work, and like has these beautiful like R&B tones throughout this whole entire mini album, especially into Watercolor. I really just kind of dig that like smooth like sound and style into it.
Yeah, okay. Whenever I think of Mamamoo, like I think of like because like their style is that's something that they would like be able to replicate a lot of like those 90s girl group R&B from like the like kind of like TLC or Destiny's Child, like because like their voice and like even their rapping and like even the music kind of feels like really similar to like a lot of those 90s era music from there, and then they're really good at that. And I think with Wiian, she's able to create like like being able to expand on her own and with her kind of music. I think with Watercolor, it feels more like like a bit of like a neo funk into like the style, and the rest of them like really brings in some like nostalgic music elements. Like some of like the songs even could be go back into like a really into like the 70s style of like music, because kind of feel like she's able to hone a lot of like instrumentals like more of like acoustics, or even like a bit of like a piano organ, even even like some of like the I couldn't really pinpoint like some of the instrumentals that she used. A lot of them like kind of reminds me of like a lot of folk pop music from the 70s as well, because it like really feels like really old school into it, because I really love that song I don't know how to pronounce this, Ohu.
Oh yeah.
Ohoo.
Yeah, like I think it's Ohu. I think
Ohu.
I'm not sure how she pronounces it in the song, but yeah, it's like it's stylized OHOO on the album. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it kind of brings me back into like really nostalgic days when I listened to a lot of 70s music, because like the instrumentals really reminds me of like of that time. And even like her duet with the song Butterfly, it kind of makes you in the mood, because her songs and her style, it kind of feels like it really soothes your soul in a way. It's something like you listen to in the summer, but helps you like relax more, and it helps you put you into like a mind at ease.
Yeah.
And I think she really excels in that, and especially with her voice, because I think how I describe her voice, apart from like a lot of Mamamoo members, her singing really brings like a really a relaxed relaxed state of mind. Yeah, she's a really good vocalist. But compare her to like with Solar, like Solar is able to belt out a lot of like her singing, but I think with Wiian it feels more pulled back, and she's able to have a like really calming tone with her style.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I love her voice, how it is a little bit more reined in. Like it's not as belty as we've seen with some other female soloists out there in K-pop. And I really appreciate the fact that it is reined in, and it just kind of does bring this more relaxing, calming vibe to her music, to this R&B, like this throwback R&B sound that she has. Like I agree with you. Butterfly is, I think, hands down my favorite song off this album, which features Jisoo, and just with her harmonies with Jisoo on that track are so beautiful. Like that song is so gorgeous.
Yeah, it doesn't bring me to like a really overwhelming emotion. Like it brought me to tears or anything, but I just like my heart is really like soared into like another place. Yeah, it's like it swells. It's like it's so it really puts me into the good mood, because I was like walking in a really sunny day at the time, and it's like getting warm in my place. I was like, this is really a perfect time for me to listen to that.
Yeah, and I thought it transitioned really well into the next track too, because it kind of just like that fades out and fades into the next track, Springtime, really, really well. Like I love that transition.
Oh yeah, Springtime has a really old like old like a vintage type of pop into it. It's like it goes back in like it's like I'm transferred into like the black and white era of like during the 60s, and like like just walking with your loved one, and it's just like like I'm in love or something like that. It's like
yeah, I really like listening to Butterfly and Springtime like back to back to one another. I love tracks that do that, like just the transition one into another like that. Like that just like gets me so like hyped up, and just like having that just made me so happy. And I love like having like that kind of soothing, like really calming R&B vibe. Like, yeah, this is the kind of stuff like I want to listen to, like if I'm laying on a hammock outside in the sun shining in the summertime. Like this is the kind of just like chill vibe music I want. Like this is it. So
yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I mean,
the album so much.
Even the title track Watercolor, like I really love how like it seems like such a personal song to her. Like how she's talking about the struggles and of her, and just like being yourself, and it's so personal, and you can tell just by the way she's just singing and the emotions she's bringing through on it, and it's just you can tell it's such a personal message to her, and it's a really great song. I really recommend you listen to it.
Yeah, I admire so much of how like Mamamoo members, they're able to like be so genuine with their messages, and like how they like write their music. Like they really do present like their personal reflections and into like the public, because with last year with Wasa's Maria, she really delves into like her her personal experience, and like what people like used to see her as, and it's very sincere, and very like honest with her with her music. And I think it's the same way with Wiian, but I think to a lesser extent like from Wasa. I think with with Wiian, it feels like it brings into like into a good mood, but still being able to understand like her how she feels at times when she's like singing her experience. And I think with Wiian, I think she has a great balance of have like the feminine side and having a bit of like a tomboy into her. Because I kind of see that whenever she performs watercolor in the music video, and I feel like she's able to own or balance those sides together. She's like a really great balance apart from like a lot of Mamamoo members.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I kind of like the dichotomy, because she kind of has like this like fun flirty side with like the feminine with like the dresses, but then she does like have like this more tomboyish side in some of the outfits she wears, and I really do dig that dichotomy she has throughout, and I just. It feels so Wiian. It feels so her. So it feels super genuine. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm listening to this album and I'm like, I really, 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 and I'm hoping that Moonbo can pull this off. Like I really want a Wiian Suga collab so bad.
Oh, right,
I
right.
really do. I feel like they would be together so well because like I get vibes of like Suga doing stuff with Suran and Heiz before. Like I feel like they could just create something super super awesome together.
Yeah. I also remembered because I know she did a cover of Candy by Baekhyun last year, and I
Mhm.
said I really want to collab with them. Though like Baekhyun will be going out like to do it, not
Mhm.
yeah to do like his time or his service or community
Mhm.
service. So I was like, oh man, I kind of wanted to see that a collab. Maybe when he's finished, maybe
Maybe post
one day
military.
post
Maybe
military.
hopefully.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I heard Bacon is going into the military since he has like kind of like health conditions. So I think he's going to be doing community service instead.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
I've heard too, because of a health condition, which I'm not going to disclose, although Dispatch wanted to disclose, but I'm not disclosing because I'm not Dispatch. Um,
Yeah, he has. He has.
I'm not evil like Dispatch. So, because he's been trying to keep that private. So I'm not going to disclose. I'm not going to be a jerk.
I
But
kind
yeah,
of
no,
feel like he has to like reveal like, no, I had this condition, guys. Like,
I
calm
know.
down. That's why.
It's like, that's not even
Yeah.
fair. So, but no,
Right.
as I said, I really want a Wheein Sugar collab. Like, that's a dream
Yes.
dream collab
Nice.
in the
I know,
future.
like,
So,
I know, like, her and oh yeah, Moonbyul and Jen are are friends too,
mhm.
since because they're born in '92.
Yeah, they're part of the 92 group chat that I know
Yeah.
exists out there. So I'm sure like Jin would totally bug Suga for that. I know. I know.
I
So,
allow it to.
so, but let's get into our last music review of the week. So this is just a solo release,
A single, yeah, single.
a single solo release from the 8 from 17, with his I guess this is his debut solo release, Side by Side. So this is, I think, the first time he's debuted anything solo, officially solo.
It's gonna be a
And
mixtape like Hoshi.
he didn't say mixtape, although I'm still waiting. Hoshi, we're still waiting for the rest of that stuff.
I know, right? Mixtape, and it's only releases one song so far.
Drop the mixtape. Um,
It's the
but
Hoshi mixtape.
drop the Hoshi mixtape. But I'm kind of liking the fact that like the members of 17 have been dropping like all this new music, and like we're getting to see the different sides of the members of 17, because again 17 is a group of 13 people, and there's lots of different tastes and talents in this group. So and yeah, I mean, again, another member of the performance line, the Eights, part of the Chinese line too,
Oh, I
originally from
know.
China. Yeah, the Eights originally from China. And so that's why it was very interesting to hear him sing in Korean on this
Oh, no
track.
wonder. No wonder why he has three versions: the Korean, the Chinese, and the English. Like, okay,
Mhm.
now I see.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes,
Yeah,
there's three versions out there. I would listen to the Korean version. I didn't listen to the Chinese or the English, because the Korean version is the one that got the music video too. But yeah, he released a couple different versions of the song out there. But yeah, he's originally from China, so he's one of the two Chinese members of 17. But yeah, he released a song called Side by Side, which I also call Friend Zoned the song.
which no, it's called Life of Ginny. Life of Ginny. That's the real.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Aw, SHINee.
I relate like because from like recent experiences I relate so much of the Eights music video or the song, but other than
Mhm.
like with Jackson, because I know Jackson released another. I know Jackson had his unrecorded like love song with Leave Me Loving You, but I
Yeah.
think this one feels more like lighthearted and not like
Mhm.
emotionally like invested. It's like oh I get rejected, like I'll try again. No, like
Yeah, this one's a little more cute, because
yeah,
he keeps trying, and like
try.
he
Nah.
he keeps trying. And it's more cute. It's more cute. It's more like fun and flirty. Like
Yeah.
it's really kind of it's sweet. It's very
Yeah.
very sweet. Like
The girl didn't move on to someone else and got
no.
married, like with Jackson.
No, there is no like sad breakup at the end where you just like it ends and like you're just heartbroken, and that's
Like
it.
to hear her
Period.
leave with another man. Just kidding. It was
No,
like,
there's a happy ending to the end of this one, thankfully, which I also do appreciate the cameos of
oh yeah,
Junji
no,
Kins, in
the
the music
wingman,
video.
aka the wingman of
Yes, the wingman who came in to save the day, apparently.
The glorified cameo. I just when I saw them, I'm like, oh no, I can't believe that he dragged them into this video.
Either he dragged them in or they dragged themselves in. I'm gonna go with option B. Probably.
I like shooting a music video. They were like, we can have a part in it. Fine. Damn it.
So, but I mean, in terms of the song itself, I think it's kind of fun. It's like a fun poppy song. Like it fits the tone of the music video. It's cute. It's really cute.
Again, it has like a really like neo vintage style because it kind of something kind of reminds me of like some like 50s songs that you would hear from that era. Right. But it's kind of more modernized into like a more upbeat tune into it.
Yeah,
like yeah.
I was gonna say it has some like nice jazzy undertones, especially like it kind of you hear right before the last chorus. I mean, because 17 does play a lot with jazz tones. I feel like so. So yes, Home Run. Well, I mean, it probably does help. I think Woozy, has been helping a lot with all these solo projects. So he helps a lot with the producing and stuff. So
I see why.
So I think that's why a lot of that. But I mean, I think it's fun. It's just
I know, yeah. So that's another thing I like listening to. I like watching the video too because I don't get caught up in the feel, so I just like better luck next time.
Yeah. Like I said, happy ending. It's a happy ending at least at the end of this one. So like I said, maybe critique of it makes it a little too simple of a song. But I mean, I'll forgive him. It's his first song. Solo song.
I think for me it's just like something I would like pass by, I guess. But I would wouldn't be opposed like skipping it or anything. I'm just thinking like, listen to it like, okay, oh yeah.
This is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not an immediate skip. It's like, oh, this comes up. Oh, I'll just let this play through. This is fun. So, but I mean, it's not like Hosty coming through and just completely wrecking us last week.
I know. But I'm kind of kind of happy that you see like a lot of like 17 members coming out with their own solo works too. First with Hoshi and now D8. Yeah,
it's just it's been fun seeing them kind of come out and just all of them kind of starting to play with like all this different types of music and just like playing with it and figuring out what they want to do. And like, I mean, because even like I said, June did stuff back in February. He's done a couple, and that was a Chinese track he laid out that is really, really beautiful. I highly recommend you go check it out. It's on YouTube. Called what is it called? I think it's called like Departure. Really, really pretty. Really, really sad. Kind of a sad, melancholy song.
Oh no!
You may not want to listen to it right now, Ginny. You may not want to listen to it. I mean, I liked it. I really liked it.
When I'm all better. I'll listen to it.
Maybe when Ginny's not in her mood. So, but I like I said, I think it's fun. It's fun. It's bouncy. It's kind of flirty. It's just fun.
It's fun. It's a fun track.
It's a fun track. So, but yeah, let's get into this Kingdom Legendary War update before we get into our Rookiepedia, because I feel like we're gonna ramble on a Rookiepedia session today.
We're gonna do a quick recap on who's on their way to get the crown.
Yeah, so like I said, we just finished up round one. Oh, okay. Let me rephrase this. We've mostly finished up round one. Like I said, we've had all 6 performances of round one completed within the last 2 weeks of the show. So they broke it up within 2 weeks. We got 3 performances in week 1, 3 performances in week 2, because they kind of showed some behind the scenes of everybody's performances before they actually showed the performances.
Right.
Like I said, you can go watch everyone's performances online. They are on YouTube. Go watch the full performances, please. And I guess so. When we left off, actually, when I was talking last week, we did not know who actually won the preliminary. We only known who got 5th, 4th, and 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
So with the preliminary, with the 100-second competition. So what happened is actually Icon got 6th place in the preliminary, weirdly enough. So
yeah, it's kind of weird because I thought they had like a lot of momentum for starting out Kingdom, because like B2B and Icons plus surprised that they get a lot of hype by their fandom. But
Mhm.
yeah, I was like, oh, sixth place. So
Yeah. They got sixth place, and they were, like I said, they were pretty far behind. They were like 15,000 votes behind ATs when it was all said and done. So, and then with that, and then with that, then we had second and first get revealed. Second place was the boys, and first place was Stray Kids. And Stray Kids was leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. Like Stray Kids was like 120,000 votes ahead of everybody else. Like they got 690. They got 690,000 votes compared to the boys who had like 5,000 or 570,000 votes in terms of between first and second. It was a big gap.
Yeah, which I'm not surprised at all, because a lot of since Stray Kids had, a lot of really great track record, with their career, and with the fan, like how big the fandom is. So not surprised that, they got at that range or at that score. Like,
and because I said, we knew the preliminary was it was all fan voted. It wasn't there was nothing else to that. It was all fan voted. So with that, they get the 1,000 bonus points. They get to decide the order of round one. So Stray Kids gets to decide who gets to go in order for this first round, which was called To the World, which basically everyone got to pick a performance where they want to show themselves to to the world. And so it's a song of their own, obviously remixed for the show and, performed. It's about a 4.5 minute performance that they wanted to show. So, and in the order they decided to put the boys as the first team to go up, followed by iKON, B2B, then themselves. So Stray Kids decided to go fourth. Then have ATs go right after them in fifth, and then finish up the round with SF9.
Yeah. Okay. So, it's a very interesting picks that they made.
Yeah, I mean, I understand some of the logic because they were kind of explaining how they wanted to do it. Like they wanted to put someone that was a little different before them because they wanted to stand out. And I know the reason why they wanted to put ATs after them is because, again, Stray Kids and ATs have very similar styles in terms of performance. They're very dynamic groups, really bombastic groups,
loud and very heavy into like their music, the EDM
and theatrics too. And so they were kind of hopefully pegging on, if we go first, like we'll leave a really big impression, and then hopefully ATs can live up to that, and we'll take away from ATs and be the one.
Yeah, it's a really interesting strategy. Considering how like they have motifs that have like them in like a chessboard. With Kingdom, like okay, no.
So did that work? I will let you know. So stay tuned. So we get into the performances. So the boys do a remix of their song with No Air, which is one of probably their most famous songs. I will get into that next week when we talk about the boys.
I think that's like the song that got me into the boys, or got me acknowledging the group or their existence.
It's definitely one of their most well-known songs. It was actually kind of funny because like a lot of people during Road to Kingdom were like, "Why aren't you doing No Air? Why didn't you do No Air? Why didn't you do No Air? Why?"
Next season, fine.
So they did No Air. They kind of did this like because they did No Air, a Song of Ice and Fire edition. Game of Thrones. Which it's kind of interesting because they did this like whole like No Air, so they kind of did this whole underwater shoot kind of thing to like kind of like help kind of get them in the mood for it, and then like kind of did like a preliminary like beginning of it, which I think kind of was cool. However, with the performance itself, I didn't really like how they remixed the song because I felt like it kind of took away from how it was too melancholy. Because it kind of took away from the EDM of the song, I feel like.
I guess because I know, like they're trying to get into the mood of like the whole kingdom lore, right? So it kind of feel like a bit of a medieval. Because I think that's what they think that they wanted to, they're trying to do here. So I was turned off when after that like then iKON has like the more when they perform Love
Love Scenario.
Sorry.
Ha ha ha.
Please don't kill me. Love Scenario, but it has like more like a modern, like a more like
Mhm.
dance feel into it. Like
Mhm.
it's like got it away from like that like medieval like
Mhm.
war epic kind of feel. So I think that
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's what the boys were trying to do.
Okay.
But it might have not like got have like
Yeah.
an impression for you like yeah like lost
Well,
like that EDM feel into it.
I think it just the arrangement is just a little weird for me, and then also I think it just got a little cluttered for me too, because like their staging, I think they kind of isolated themselves off because they had this like wall with like candles and stuff, and so like because the boys is the biggest group there's 11 members in the boys, and
Yeah.
then they had all these backup dancers, and they were all dancing in this really really small area. And like it's this gigantic stage. It's like literally like two parts to the stage where there's like a one and then two, like a front and a back. And like they were kind of limited to like the back part of the stage, and they couldn't really expand
I
out
see.
to the front part. And so it just like it kind of felt claustrophobic because like I don't think like they could really elaborate out on the choreography unlike some other performances later in the round. And so I think it took away from me for the performance because it just felt super super claustrophobic, and like just there's just so much going on that I just don't think it just took away from me. So
I see.
that's
Okay.
kind of where I kind of took some knocks on their performance. So, I mean, I like the boys because I like some of their stages from Road to Kingdom, really, because like they had some amazing theatrical performances. I hope they can bring some of that back in the next round.
Yeah,
But
maybe
this,
they're trying to like minimize like their their early performances until like they go big until the final part of the final round. Maybe,
hopefully, but
maybe.
maybe we'll see. But then yeah, we get into next one with the Icon, which they decided to actually remix two songs. They decided to go with Love Scenario and Killing Me.
And Killing Me.
And yeah, they, as Ginny was kind of mentioning, they kind of did this more modern, like kind of like 40s, 50s, like Hollywood take kind of with their performance and their in the remix of it, because it kind of felt like a little like Hollywoodish in terms of the styling and
like
the
a Hollywood
music.
musical, like a Hollywood musical thing.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the jazzy like remix of it. And then like I did like the transition because I kind of like the story they were doing of it, whether like this kind of like like the breakup, and then like it kind of was like, oh, like we're okay with the breakup, and then it got really dark when it turned into Killing Me, and then like because it got really dark in terms of like even the lighting and the dancing, and then the one part with Chan Woo like throwing the lighter back and then like lighting the altar up in the back, like, but yeah, I mean, in terms of other performances, it still felt a little simplistic compared to some of the other performances we've seen, especially again later in the round. It just, yeah, I mean, I don't know, it just felt, I don't know, there's just something missing with Icon. I don't know what's going on with them. There's just something lacking.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. Like I know like they kind of got me hyped during like their like solo performances before it aired with the DK doing a more of like a really like samurai warrior like concept into it, because I thought that's what they'll be doing, since Icon is really known for their really hard edge of hip hop style. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe it's the same thing with the boys. So maybe they're just like trying to like do like like the minimal like thing in their performance until they go hard at the final rounds. Maybe so they're just like doing things like like minimal first, or like something doing something small and then going
Maybe,
going bigger. I'm not sure.
maybe
I'm holding out hope.
we're holding out hope for Icon, but we'll see what happens. But then next was excuse me, it was B2B, and they did Missing You, which I think is one of their most beautiful songs that they've done. And they did this really beautiful like Korean musical version of the song.
Yeah, like a period piece drama, like that you'd probably
Almost.
see from like like the Korean drama shows, which I am like I'm like it's like the most the performance that got me pleasantly surprised
Mhm.
because I was kind of worried like BTB might just be doing like like standing up and just like doing some singing with
Mhm.
some beautiful props behind. No, but I'm actually glad that they were able to have some performance into it, even though it may
Mhm.
be it's like simplistic, like simple boy
Right.
band dance. But no, like I think it was Minhyuk, since I think that Minhyuk's like their main dancer,
Mhm.
was able to like cut up from like the performance and do like a really like a theatrical like a war like fight scene at the
Mhm.
in the forest. I was like, it's very it's very theatrical. It's very
Mhm.
very epic in their style, and it's very beautiful as well. I was like, wow, I'm like that's like the one that I'm really surprised and got really gave me a good impression because I was kind of like worried, like, hey, with
Yeah.
B2B, like, no, they were able to pull that off in their own way.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was kind of like I said, it felt like this really beautiful Korean like epic period piece. Yeah, they decided to have Minhook do that because Minhook learned sword fighting, sword dancing actually with a movie he filmed. So that's where
Ah,
he learned that from. So he was able to
nice.
utilize some of those skills in that dance break, the quote unquote dance break they pegged it as, to do the sword fighting, which I think worked out really well. And then they have them all come back together to do the final harmonies at the end. And yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, considering, B2B is more of a ballad group and they don't do like the hard choreography we see obviously from like the Z's, the boys, AT Stray Kids, SF9 or Icon, and their vocals are like their thing. Like this was really nice to see, and I really really
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed their performance overall. It was just this beautiful like engaging piece. It was just like it felt like I was engaging in Korean history a little bit, and it was
Mm-hmm.
really beautiful to watch. Like I
Yeah.
did find myself going back to watch that one over and over and over. So
Yeah, I love the production too, like the props and like the color schemes in there. It's like
mhm.
it's very very atmospheric, very like
Yes.
yeah, very like beautiful with a blue color palette. I
Yes.
love it.
And I like the instrumentation they used in the mix for Missing You. They used a lot of the Korean traditional instruments throughout.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really just highlighted how beautiful that song is. So
Hmm.
um,
Yeah, I
it
think
was.
if they do more of that kind of style, and like maybe, and then they'll be like have them like in a different, like have
Mhm.
a different identity to them, other than
Mhm.
like we see with ATs and Stray Kids, because they have like a an icon, since they have a lot of similar dynamic
Mhm.
performances. So it's a really good change up.
Yeah, it was nice kind of seeing that. It was just a nice little break. So, which again, I understand why Stray Kids put them before them because Stray Kids is very different from B2B, but I don't think Stray Kids was expecting B2B to do so well because I thought they did really really well. But then Stray Kids performed fourth, and wow. um,
I actually did not watch it. I've been again too busy
I
trying to
know.
support the ATs, even though it's not my will. I didn't know what they perform. What did they what song did they do?
So, Stray Kids did a remix too. They actually remixed Side Effects and God's
Oh, oh,
Menu.
oh
Yeah,
no,
no,
no.
it works. Baekchan
Ah,
somehow remixed Side Effects and God's Menu, and it worked. Like the Mari Apuda, and then the da into the ta 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 do. Like it works, and I don't know how he did it, but it fucking worked.
oh no! I don't make me tempt me into like watching it. Like, we're gonna stop this recording. I'm gonna see this.
I'd say if you don't want to give him the vote, don't give him
Ah,
the views because you want to give ATs all the actual legit views. Go watch
give me
the
the illegal,
reaction version.
give me the like the illegal. Oh my
No, no,
god!
no, no. Just go watch the one with all the reactions of everyone breaking in, because then you can still see it. You just won't get that won't count towards the streams. This is how you get around it. Because we know stays are going to like stream the hell out of this performance. Because
Oh
again,
yeah,
stays.
yeah,
But
definitely.
no, they did it really cool because like they had this really awesome like storyline because they really took like the whole idea of a side effect, the blinded by like no, because the side have you looked at the translations to side effects where like this like kind of blinded by like the passion and stuff of like success and everything, and they like the blight and stuff, and they really took that literally because like it's this like really dark eerie like because they took this whole like evil and live concept which Felix
Mhm.
came up with.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, because they all kind of came up with this idea together, which is really cool. That Felix came up with the live in evil concept, and yeah, it's like this. So it's like sort of this really dark, kind of like creepy, like, you know, they're being controlled by like these evil shadows and stuff, and like, you know, the side effects part, and then they kind of break through when it changes into God's menu, and it's really dynamic and really bombastic, you know, very Stray Kids, you know, in your face with their choreography. And like, I'm really happy that they utilized, you know, the iconic choreography to God's menu throughout, as well as, you know, adding new elements throughout it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's kind of what I like about seeing these performances, that they do add new elements to the existing choreography. And like, it's just, yeah, I mean, everybody got to shine throughout of it. Like, I mean, there's this one part where Bang Chan's like up there rapping, and like there's this like, it's this really cool image where he's standing up and they're all wearing white. So all the, I remember Stray Kids are wearing white. All the backup dancers are wearing black. So it's like, you know, there's shadows. And so he's wearing white, and there's a backup dancer hanging below him, and like they're dancing opposite of one another. So it looks like his shadow is dancing and matching his movements.
Cool.
It's a really cool move. It's a really cool like sequence of events. Yeah, it's like that was the first performance I saw this morning, because that was the first performance of part 2 of this week 1 of competition. So like that was the first thing to see this morning. So it was like, whoa, like I was thinking here like, okay, how is ATEEZ going to top this? Because like, you know, I'm like, oh shoot, ATEEZ is going to go next, because I had a feeling they were like, they're going to make ATEEZ go second after them, because, you know, they're going to try to one up ATEEZ, you know, a little bit, just, you know, to use kind of their power that they have, because they won the preliminary round. So then ATEEZ comes up.
Skip. Yeah, just watch the video, because just watch the video and just like see how, you know, like just watch it into your own terms, just how like how out there like the performance is. That's why I didn't watch try to compare with Stray Kids and ATEEZ, because
I mean, if I was 4 by, I don't even know how do I explain what I saw with ATEEZ, because ATEEZ was just, oh my god, like, one, they performed Wonderland, which is one of my favorite ATEEZ songs, one of their most underrated, one of our favorites, arguably one of the most underrated hits, I think, period. They remixed it with a classical piece of music. They remixed it with Symphony No. 9, Into the New World, which I've never seen a K-pop song remixed with classical music.
I mean, they kind of teased that with when they did. I forgot. But I know like they used or incorporated the Requiem piece by Mozart.
Right.
Yeah, into
a little bit.
Yeah.
They've been kind of teasing a tiny bit of it. Yeah. So I mean, I guess they've been when they were doing the preliminary with San. Yeah. So. But I guess because like they were really playing with it, because like I mean they were showing behind the scenes, and like Hongjun was really like struggling trying to figure out like, because they wanted to do classical music, and he was going through like a bunch of classical music, and he couldn't find the right. No, he's still like sitting on YouTube like trying to find classical music to find that would match up in Wonderland. He's like sitting there like trying to like figure out what's gonna match up, and like he's literally brainstorming with Eden, and like they finally figured, Eden being one of the main producer behind ATEEZ, so, like who works with them on like almost everything that they do, and like they somehow pulled out, you know, Into the New World, Symphony No. 9, and it worked.
Gosh, you know what? After recording this, I'm gonna check out like Symphony, like like watching Symphony No. 9 and see how many like recent comments are gonna come from ATEEZ. if it came from ATEEZ, like I would like, who the ATEEZ.
Please screenshot and send this to me when this happens, because I want to see this.
I mean, go to like the new comments on YouTube and see any ATEEZ related comments with Beethoven's or Symphony No. 9.
Yeah, but we stop. Yeah, I mean, seriously, I was just like sitting here like, oh my god, no. And then just even the performance itself, like you get it's like a freaking swashbuckling movie in 4.5 minutes. Like, it is epic. Like, it's a whole story. You can tell what's going on.
I don't know.
It's,
I don't know.
I don't want to spoil anything. Like, I don't want to spoil things because there's some amazing surprises throughout. Like,
You know about the rumors about like some like the like Mnet is being called out for being unfair and giving like to like certain groups. I think we know the main suspect. I think we know the main suspect.
yeah, I feel like we understand. Like, all of a sudden, we went behind the curtain, and then we're like, oh, whoops, I see why people were pissed off now. I mean, outside of that, like, you take that out of it, it still is an amazing performance, like, throughout. Just the choreography, the vocals, the performance, like, all of it, hands down, is just amazing. So,
Yeah, we talked about like ATEEZ being a master of like having like a really great theatrical performances because they really put like like their face really emotes well into like the content of what they're like of the story that they're like they're presenting in their dance, and no, and even the props greatly exemplified like the story too. I think if you take away like the props and just like have like ATEEZ dance on their own, it's still they'll still be very be strong in in how they emote with their faces. Like,
I know that's the crazy thing is like you could take away all the props and everything, and you could still understand what they're talking about. So like that's the crazy thing about it. So yeah, and then, believe me, I'm streaming this like all week because they deserve all the streams. And then we get to our last performance with SF9 and Jealous, and
it's called like Now or Never, even though it sounds like they're saying jealous.
I know, which they put in there as Jealous, and I'm like, well, it's Now or Never, but everyone calls it Jealous apparently. So anyway,
whatever.
But I really kind of liked the idea there. Like, I like the concept and the idea that they're kind of going with like this dark fantasy because they're kind of doing this like mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all kind of jealousy thing. Like, there's some interesting K-drama-esque performances. Like, there's one like member who like I think Taeyong like literally like smacked a member across the face, like very K-drama-esque. There's literally one part in the choreography where like they're like taking like scarves out. It looks like they're ripping one of the members apart. I think they're like literally ripping part Suho apart. Which looks like he's getting ripped apart. Like, it's this whole like jealousy kind of like vanity dark fantasy vibe. And I kind of like that. I mean, the unfortunate thing is, and I was wondering if this was going to hurt SF9, is because of their insane schedules. And because they're all so busy, and they kind of show this in their behind the scenes in the episode, is that like they all can't get together to practice, unlike other groups. Which even with ATEEZ, I didn't mention with ATEEZ, they did all that performance in the middle of fireworks comeback.
Yeah.
That's insane. So, but with SF9, like they all have like they're filming dramas, they're filming doing musicals, they have a bunch of other different stuff going on, so like not everyone can be in at the same time to learn the choreography, and it kind of showed on stage, unfortunately, because there were some parts where it looked a little sloppy and it wasn't as like clean and crisp as it was like with the boys or with Stray Kids or with ATEEZ or even with iKON. So like there was a little bit of a disconnect there. Unfortunately, their backup dancers kind of saved them in that respect. I mean, their vocals were really, really good. Like, their vocals saved them, but their choreography was a little lacking, unfortunately. And I was worried about that. So I'm hoping somehow they can fix that in the next round of competition. I mean, I don't know if or when their schedules are going to get better. That they can possibly come together more cohesively as a group. But we'll see. We'll see if that happens. But with that, with all those performances and everything under our belt, we found out who we got the professional scores and then the self-evaluation scores. So like I said last week, so we do the rankings. So half the votes are going to come through professional and self-evaluation. So 25% from professional, 25% from self-evaluations from the other 5 groups, outside of your own group. And then the other 50% come from fans, 10% from streams, 40% from the fan vote on Who's app. So, or on Who's fan, excuse me. So we found out at least the professional and the expert and the self-evaluation point totals today, because those they could find out immediately. And I haven't told Ginny that, so these are going to all be genuine reactions because Ginny has not been told any of the results. So do you want me to go from 6th to 1st, or do you want me to go 1st to 6th? How do you want me to do this?
6th to 1st. I'm
Okay.
getting my journal ready.
Okay. So currently sitting in 6th place, currently with only 444-ish points, is SF9.
SF9.
They barely got 4th place in the expert vote, and they got no points in the self-evaluation. Nobody gave them any votes in the self-evaluation.
Oh.
So they only got points in the expert vote, and they barely squeaked out getting out of last place in that. So they're currently sitting in last place with 444 points. About in 5th place currently is Icon with 888 or about 889 points. I'm rounding up. They tied for last with B2B in the expert voting. They only got about 333 points in expert voting, and they placed 5th in the self-evaluation. So they got votes in the self-evaluation, but they didn't get a lot. So I think their performance kind of got forgotten after Stray Kids and ATEEZ's performance from going 2nd. So I think that might have hurt them. So they're sitting in 5th place currently. In 4th place currently is B2B. They are with 1,444 points. They tied again with Icon in the expert voting for last place. They got 333 points there, but they tied for 2nd in the self-evaluation with Stray Kids. So the other groups voted for them so well in the peer evaluation. That's how they got where they are. So the other groups really did like their performance. That's why they are sitting in 4th place currently with 1,444 points. So not bad.
Yeah.
In 3rd place is The Boys.
I knew it. Yeah.
You knew.
No, I knew it. I just guessed because it'll be either like Stray Kids or ATEEZ because they have a great competition. Yeah.
Yeah. In 3rd place is The Boys with 1,833 points. They got 3rd in expert voting and 4th in self-evaluation. So they're kind of sitting, kind of in the middle of the pack. They're about, 433 points above B2B. So, and this is where you get so interesting. So this is where Ginny thinks we're between Stray Kids and ATEEZ, where we thought, obviously, we're going to be. In 2nd place with 2,444 points currently is Stray Kids.
Yep. Yeah.
With they got 2nd in self-evaluation, tied with B2B, and they got 2nd overall in expert. So that places them in 2nd overall in the competition, which means currently sitting in 1st place, going from 5th to 1st, is ATEEZ.
Oh, wait.
I'm on my way on a tournament.
I think Jongho really boosted them with his with his high pitch up, so he's singing.
just Jongho by himself with his vocals. Not gonna lie, Hongjin's been playing a lot of people too. Like there were some people in the comments like who is that man with the glasses? But yeah,
may or may not do some edits just to give them some rappers. maybe.
But currently ATEEZ is in 1st place with 2,944 points. They both got in 1st in expert and in the self-evaluation. So
nice.
Overall, they are leading the pack currently, they like really love the pack in terms of like both the self-evaluation and the group voting. So yeah, it's I may have nearly cried when I found out that ATEEZ was in first place this morning. So my 18 heart was very, very happy and full.
Yeah.
So
And hopefully, like that. Okay, that result would give more, we have more traction and momentum with the fandom, just to like keep boosting them, or keep pushing them into like more in the recognition, and more get them to stay on that place.
yeah, no, I mean the fandom's been pushing. The 18s are pushing hard right now for streaming. So I mean,
Nice, yeah.
they're
I'm gonna help.
they are pushing hard. So any and all 18s, please, all hands on deck. Stream your hearts out, because stays are going to be insane with streaming, because stays are better. Also, stays are better. At least what I've heard, stays on Twitter are better right now. So I'm staying the hell off Twitter. But yeah, so voting is going until, well, actually by the time this goes up, voting is going to be done on Who's app for the group voting, but the streams are going to count, at least for Stray Kids, ATEEZ, and Stray Kids, ATEEZ, and SF9. The first three groups, the boys, Icon and BTB have already had all their stuff up for a week, so their stream counts have been counted. The last three haven't gone up for a week yet, so they still have to be counted. So once that week's up, then they'll get counted, and then we'll find out who officially won round one.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we haven't had official winner. Preliminary right now, ATEEZ is in first.
Yeah, so far, yeah.
So far, so
It's still a good, good improvement from being fifth place at first in like one round, and then like first place. So, yeah.
So, and with that, ATEEZ does get control of the second round, and the second round is going to be the group shuffle round. So this is going to the switcheroo. Yep, everyone's this. So they get to decide who's switching with who. So stay tuned.
This will be interesting.
This will be very interesting come next week. So. But with that, I know we're running a little bit late because I was talking and rambling about Kingdom. Because
yeah,
oh my
you
God.
better like give me like some like a reference for us to like put for the images in the segment.
I will try.
One?
I will try. I will try, because I don't want us to get pegged by Mnet.
Pictures. Oh yeah, what kind of pictures?
We'll figure something out here. But yeah, with that, let's get into our Rookiepedia session for the week, and let's get into, since we've been talking a lot about Stray Kids, obviously, and Stray Kids. Whoo. And obviously, Stray Kids being one of the main obviously competitors on the show here as of late. I mean, obviously winning the first preliminary round, and now currently sitting in second. Obviously, there's some pretty stiff competition. So let's see why, shall we?
Yeah, sure. I can like start things off like with just like the basic info, because I have like for the first page. So what I have here, Stray Kids, they first appeared like not officially debut, but they've been on the know during the 2017 when they were under like JYP's like survival show, which is also called Stray Kids. So like a lot of like K-pop groups, form from a lot of survival shows, and like eliminating members to see who gets to be like the permanent like lineup for a group. So that's what happened, with Stray Kids, and what was that? And so they officially debut in the beginning of 2018. With some like pre-debut singles and albums first, until making their official debut like later in March. Even though they're like they came out in 2018, they're still like a young, but they're already like a prevalent group, because they were able to bridge from like K-pop's third generation into the fourth generation in the music genre, and like in such a young career, they're able to like span with a lot of like really great hits in their track record, and it's like really impressive feat for them. So, they're like starting out like 2018, like almost like a 3-year career.
Yeah, I mean, they've just hit their third anniversary, so yeah, they're about 3 years old now.
Yeah, and so like their fandom name, which is a really cool idea, since they're called Stray Kids, their fandom fandom name is called Stay, and a lot of their music videos always like end off with like stray kids from around the world. You make the stray kids stay, so that's where they got like the name from, and it really kind of fits with like the theme that they were able to like bring, because stray kids they represent like a different and unique side of K-pop in terms of like their music, because they have like a grittier presentation in their music concepts, because we know like BTS, we discussed like with BTS they were able to like have a lot of social issues they brought up in their subjects. I think Stray Kids were able to like push those topics further, and discussing themes of like adolescent strife, realistic like social issues, as well, and especially with mental health. So they have like a lot of like they delivered those topics through like unsparing amount of hip hop production, like really loud, really heavy, and almost like in your face, with like the hip hop production, and even like the rap styles, because they're really it's really guttural, like the way they're like delivered by Stray Kids rappers. And they're like their songs and messages, like they're generally it's something that's rarely seen and given with the opportunity from a lot of K-pop groups, because they're one of the fewer that was able to craft and pen their songs, thanks to like their band leader Bang Chan, and as well as like other members involved in being able to create their own music and their own songs. And yeah, and also just to another thing, their official light stick is called a Nachimbong. So it's also a light stick with a compass at the in the middle of it, because ATEEZ also has like a compass style light stick, and it really makes sense in their theme, since their songs talks about like like youth struggling to find ways like struggling to find their own identity and like finding their own path in life. It's kind of like almost like a coming of age like journey of like trying to like steer your path into like the right place, even though you'll be coming with a lot of struggles. So it makes sense that their concept of the light stick with the compass is like a compass with no direction. So it kind of really like connects well into like the story that they're trying to portray here. And yeah, a lot. You see a lot of like those subjects in the music videos. It kind of comes up really like grim or really like hard edge, and that's something that a lot of fans like really appreciate them for having like this certain music that's very like genuine and very like honest, brutally honest, like with their presentation.
Yeah, you've really hit the nail on the head with that, with the basically basic composition of Stray Kids. So let me kind of get into the members of Stray Kids really quick. So Stray Kids originally debuted as a 9-member group, is currently an 8-member group. 1 member did leave. So the members of Stray Kids are also broken up into 3 different units, and I'll kind of go over that too. So your members are the leader, Bangchan. Then you have Lino, Changbin, Hunjin, Han, Felix, Sungmin, and then IN. And then the former member of the group is Woojin, who left in 2019. And I will get into why he left in 2019 here in a little bit. But interesting enough to know, so the way the members have broken themselves up too is so Ginny was kind of getting into how they've produced and composed most of their own music. So Bangchan, Changbin, and Han have been around for a while, and they've actually produced music even during the survival show Stray Kids before then as the 3 rappers, and they've called themselves 3 Racha. And so when they are producing them music, they are always under the label 3 Racha, and they have a bunch of music pre-debut days released on their SoundCloud and on their on the YouTube page. I really highly recommend check it out. Like there's some really great stuff out there that wasn't officially released as Stray Kids stuff. Some of it actually they've remixed. That was released as Stray Kids stuff later in their Clay series. But it's some really great stuff. Like there's some great flow and rap and stuff in there, especially between Changbin and Han. Like, they have some amazing flow, especially with Changbin's more kind of raspier tone, and then Han is
Yeah,
just having a little bit higher pitch. And then so kind of
you can compare it with like BTS, because like with BTS, like they have their own style with with the rappers, and you can kind of like see that with with Stray Kids, and how they have their own distinctive style into the rapping.
Yes. And so kind of a take on Three Racha with the rap line. The other lines of Stray Kids kind of took that with the dance line and vocal lines. They call them Dance Racha and Vocal Racha. So Dance Racha is the dance line of Stray Kids. And so Dance Racha consists of Lino, Hunjin and Felix, and then Vocal Racha now consists of just Sungmin and IN, the two youngest members of the group. Woojin used to be a member of Vocal Racha before Woojin left. So it's just kind of a funny in joke in the Stay fandom how they've kind of named themselves the different Rachas.
What is the Racha? Like what is that like term based on?
So
like, you know?
the reason they named themselves why it's Three Racha. So in Korean, three is se, anadu se, se Racha, because their symbol is a sriracha bottle. So se, if you say it fast, it sounds like sriracha.
Oh,
so it's a play. It's a plan. It's a play on words. It's a plan. So that's why that's where it gets from. So because it's literally is the number 3 Racha.
Okay, yeah.
When
to give like an insight for like like new members or like new people. Like,
yeah.
What's Racha mean? What's a Racha?
So that's why they call themselves Three Racha, because it was 3 members, and then it was just a play. It was a play on words.
Cool.
In terms of Korean, so they just call themselves Three Racha now, and so that's just kind of been an adopted name into Stray Kids. So, but every time, they produce any Stray Kids song, Three Racha is like the main production behind any of the song and main writing on the song, and Bang Chen just basically works on most of the arrangements of the songs. Like, he's always in the studio. His laptop, there's another running joke in the Stay fandom that his laptop is full of like half of clips and unproduced music and stuff. So like there's so many mysteries on Bang Chan's laptop.
Nice.
So also important to note too, so during I guess also spoiler alert for the if you want to watch the Stray Kids Elimination show, the survival series, you guys don't listen to this, but spoiler alert. But 2 members were eliminated on the show, but actually did come back into become Stray Kids. Because it's a pretty emotional point in the history of the fandom. So both Lino and Felix were both eliminated on the show, but thankfully came back into the group and actually got to debut with the group. Because I don't know where Stray Kids would be without Lino and Felix, honestly.
Right,
so I feel like they're really integral to the group, in all honesty.
Especially Felix too, because like people get to never think of Stray Kids. They now think of like one of the members having like the really deepest voice in all of the pop industry. He's like a young, like a young looking guy, like like during his like 20s. Like, he looks like a teenager mostly.
Yeah.
And when he comes out with like the really deepest, the abyss rapping, it's like, look, you like this girl. It's like everyone like, gets like blown away. Who is this guy? Why is his voice so deep?
What did BM from Card say? Puberty hit him differently. It's a whole running joke too. Because Felix, seriously, I think has one of like the deepest voices. Like, it's crazy. He's one of the deepest voices in all of K-pop. Like, it's deep when he can go to his deeper register, but he can also go super high too. It's crazy. His range is insane. Yeah, also note too, like, all the members of Dance Racha, so Lino, Felix, and Hunjin, can all rap too, because that's what confused the heck out of me. Because I thought Hunjin was a rapper when I first got into Stray Kids. I legit thought Hunjin was like a rapper and was not part of the dance line, officially part of the dance line. And then when I found out he was mainly a dancer, I was like, wait, what? Because he raps so much in their music.
Yeah, because a lot of like Stray Kids, I think they mostly rely on rap, and I think it's like only like 2 members are like the ones like the the pure vocalists. So I think you can like really know like Stray Kids like like a rap group.
Yeah. So, I mean, and like, because we talked about them being very EDM heavy in terms of their music. And I mean, and it's like, again, like 80s where they're also very EDM heavy, but they go more hip hop. I feel like there's a little bit more rock elements into their stuff. While they do rap a lot with their stuff, there's a little bit more rock element, especially in the earlier stuff. But then they've also experimented out and had, they've played with different genres. Like they've had like, more trance stuff like with side effects, or like trap stuff like with God's Menu. Like it's gone in many different directions, and they've been able to explore and change their sound, and they've been able to still kind of keep it as Stray Kids. And it's really fun to kind of see them play with all this different all these different genres in themselves, to kind of like and still be a defining pillar of the fourth generation sound / noise genre.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because they really are one of the defining pillars of this, of what we are considering the fourth generation of K-pop.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, and we've kind of seen it throughout. I mean, they debuted pretty strong with their I Am series in 2018. So they officially had a pre-release with their mixtape in 2017, which was some of the music they produced on the Survival Show, which is their pre-release, and then officially debuted in 2018 with I Am Not, which had their official debut song, District 9. And then just continued from there, and like just they got immediate success, I think, with I Am Not. And then we had I Am Who and I Am You, and just kind of continuing that whole as you were talking about with their themes of self-discovery and just being trying to find your way in the world. I mean, they really do harp on these themes very well. I mean,
Right.
there's a reason why Bangtan really talks about this a lot. Like I've said this before. I think I said this before when we've talked about it, where he's like one of the very vocal people out there in K-pop, where he talks about self-esteem, and he talks about depression and anxiety, and about being open and available, and just he being a safe place for people to come to, because he really thinks that's such an important thing to do. I mean, there's a reason why he hosts a live stream almost every week. Where he mostly just come and like has music that he like recommends, or stays come and recommend to, just as a place to kind of come hang out and stuff. But and it's just he just really really portrays that very very well. I consider him I think he's in my holy trinity of like best leaders in K-pop. I have a holy trinity of like best leaders in K-pop. He's one of them.
We're going to be like ranking like best leaders in one episode.
No, my holy trinity of best leaders in K-pop are RM and BTS, Bangtan and Stray Kids, and Hongjoong and ATEEZ. For many reasons. For many reasons. This is my holy trinity. It's my holy trinity of K-pop leaders. For many many reasons, but but yeah, I mean, they like really like they were getting like a lot of success. I mean, they were getting international success too, because they really were getting success like in Japan. They were getting success here in the States. Like, I mean, people were latching onto them here, and they were getting tours here too. And then like 2019 rolls around, and they really broke through with the Clay series. Like Miro was one of the first songs I heard of Stray Kids.
Yeah, I think for me, Miro is like my ultimate like album, my go-to album with Stray Kids.
Yeah, Miro is definitely a hype song. Like that was one of the first Stray Kids songs I heard, and it is really like it's a fun like in your face anthem. Like it's just a quintessential Stray Kids song, hands down.
It tells like a full story, and it really like like encapsulates like what they're trying to get their message across.
Yeah, and it just has that their hip hop and their EDM sound, like it just nailed down so well. So, and it's also the first song that they ever got a music show win with too. So, and they got that within a year, because they came out just right before their first anniversary of their debut. So they from that, like, you know, they got success, and then, you know, we get into continuing into their Clay series with Yellowwood and Side Effects, and then we get towards the end of 2019, and then right towards the end of 2018, right before Clay Levanter is supposed to drop, which was the final album in the series, it was announced on October 27th, just out of the blue, just completely out of the blue, Woojin was leaving Stray Kids.
Right.
It
Oh,
was,
right.
it was just completely out of the blue that it just that he just up and terminated his contract from JYP and left the group due to personal reasons. And it's never come to light why he left the group. Nobody's ever said anything why. It's been speculated and speculated and speculated and speculated why he left the group. But there's never been an official word officially why he left the group. And so, I mean, I've heard everything from him bullying the other members to him wanting to leave because he didn't think they were going to be successful enough for him. And he wanted to become a solo, you know, a more successful soloist. And so that's why he went out and tried to, you know, pursue a solo career, blah, blah, blah.
To no avail, even though it became like resulting in a lot of people, or a lot of like people who used to be fans of him, you know, him in particular is like just like clowning him, which, you know, we still don't know like why he left, or if he was like, you know, like if he was like a suspect in his own in a personal case too. People think, you know, he was like bullying or like really harassing his members, and people like compiled like videos where it looked like, you know, they're not you know, really happy with him. It's like all that's just like, yeah, it's a mess. But even Bang Chan did say like prior, not prior, but like right after, you know, when Woojin left, and like he said like some like kind of cryptic statements like, oh, you got to be like really, you know, like stick up with, you know, with your friends and all that. So
yeah, it sounded like some kind of betrayal, like, and from what Bang Chan said, because he basically said something on one V Live, and that was it, and that's all we ever got from like anybody from Stray Kids. But I know it really, like, with that, they like had to delay the album. I know, like, it really shook him. Like, I know Han actually had to go like take a leave for a while because like I think he was really shook because his anxiety acted up. I know there's video out there of like Hyunjin breaking down during like an ending meant during one of their concerts because like, he legitly thought after Woojin left, like that was going to be the end of Stray Kids, because he thought like this, like they were going to start fracturing and start breaking up, and that was going to be the end of them. That he's like got really emotional to the point that they start breaking down. And so like I think that's why we've seen such a big rallying cry around OT8 Stray Kids. And so I mean, to the point too, so we got, you know, Clay Levanter came out, and that was pretty good. I mean, I like that. But then we get into 2020, and we can see something that I'd never ever seen a K-pop group do with Stray Kids 2020, SKZ 2020, in which they went back and re-recorded all of their singles as well as some of their B-sides as the 8 of them, basically trying to wipe the existence of Woojin from the group, which makes it even more suspicious of why he left in the first place. So
I'm saying like he's like a pride, like he makes like seem like he's the bad guy of like of the story, like even though like it's kind of wrong for us to like speculate like, oh yeah, he's been like, you know, messing with them like for years, but yeah, it's just that like really like implied something big, you know.
Because it's very weird. Like, so they basically recorded everything from mixtape up until Levanter, all their singles as well as a good chunk of their B-sides on this album. So, you know, almost 2 years worth of stuff. They re-recorded as the 8 of them. So they kind of just like subbed out his vocals and had other people sub in, and you know, it's basically the same stuff just now as the 8 of them instead of the 9 of them. So it just almost felt like they were kind of wiping his existence away. So I mean, again, all speculation. We don't know exactly what happened. It's all been rumored and speculated, and we don't know. But it's kind of funny too, though, like if he did leave the group because he thought they weren't going to get bigger or anything like that. 2020 is their biggest year yet.
It's like
with
their like renaissance of like, with Stray Kids.
with
Like,
with God's Menu and Go Live, with God's Menu becoming their first album to go platinum. And in Korea, and even Go Live went platinum too. The re-release for In Life. Go Live was the original, and then In Life was the re-release.
repackage.
It was a repackage that came out a couple of months later. And both went platinum, which means they sold over 250,000 copies. And even Backdoor got a couple music show wins too. And like, I just think those songs really solidified their place as fourth generation kings. I mean, God's Menu is the song that solidified me as becoming a stay for crying out loud. Like my Spotify for the longest time, like I said, I knew Miro and like I knew listening, through Side Effects and then like, Levanter and Double Knot and all that stuff, through. And then it was finally God's Menu that got me to stick as a stay. So like my Spotify was trying for the longest time for over a year to get me to become a stay. Pretty much. And it was finally God's Menu that got me to stick and become a stay. So, and
I think I'm a similar like venue too. Like I only listen to like some Stray Kids hits, and like I think I was like into like the Miro era, even though it came out. I like joined too late, and I think I was like into like Victory Song. I think that's like one of my favorites. Like so far with with Stray Kids until we got into like God's Menu and started like following more into like their stuff more.
Yeah, their most recent stuff has been super, super good, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to come out. I mean, they've had a couple like side things they've been doing. I mean, they do release a lot of individual stuff too when they release music. They release a lot of side solo stuff under what they call SKC Record on YouTube. It's usually just a bunch of solo like one-off tracks. The members do either with each other or as solo work, and they just release them at random, honestly.
Yeah.
And like I highly recommend check them out. One of my favorites as of late, I ended this with Big Ten and Changbin was Maknae on Top. It is such a fun. Right. It's a fun, stupid song, but it's so stupid, but it's a fun track.
Me and my sister actually we watched this video like can you guess like the Stray Kids songs from easy to like the hard levels, and then like we were having like having a hard time, like we were it was a pretty easy like going to like the first round like knowing like like their biggest hits, right? But then we went to like their more obscure tracks, and then like my sister like I have no idea what we're listening now, and we were having fun because she also likes Stray Kids, but like not to the full extent of knowing like their B sides. So it was like it was a fun thing that we did yesterday.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you want to go listen to like some of their like really deep stuff, like like I said, go check out 3RACHA on YouTube. All the like I said, all the rap line stuff pre-debut. They have hours of music that they released that like I said, they released some of it as mixtape on Clay Yellowwood. Mixtape 1, 2, 3, and 4 are actually all previously 3RACHA songs that at that point all 9 of them wrote and performed on. So they all actually have writing credits on those songs and are all very sentimental songs to them. So yeah, those are really I think that's kind of fun to like hear the original 3RACHA versions of those songs, and then you actually listen to mixtape 1, 2, 3, and 4, and listen to the Stray Kids versions of those songs because it's just fun hearing the differences from everyone's different raps and verses from the 3RACHA verses. So
right.
And then like I said, go listen to SKC Record. Like I said, they just keep dropping stuff. I think someone just dropped something this morning, literally. On SKC Record. I can't remember who. I think it was Han who dropped something this morning. Like I said,
they're busy like literally performing for Kingdom, and they're like, I'm just gonna like release some songs.
They just
Making it up.
randomly drop it on YouTube. Like, it's random. Like, they never warn you. It's just random on YouTube. It's like, hey, I'm just gonna drop music on YouTube.
They're kind of like like YouTube bloggers at times.
Yeah. So
That's what I feel like. Yeah.
it's fun. It's kind of a nice fun surprise. Like they just randomly drop music. So they've been doing that a lot as of late. So I mean, consider they haven't released anything really since In Life. So it's just been kind of fun to just have them like just kind of been BSing around and just releasing kind of these side like fun solo projects. So they really all, I think, like producing and working with the music. So
Yeah,
it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm glad, because you know how like JYP is like criticized at times for like putting their creative input into a lot of like their artists, and not like eliminating them to like into like their own like melting pot of like certain bubblegum pop style. I really appreciate that JYP was able to leave Stray Kids be, and then you have them like do their own thing, have their own identity, and being able to give them like the opportunity to produce, write, and like create their own music. So hopefully nothing changes, because they're succeeding on their own, and hopefully they'll be like different from like GOT7, where they're like, oh yeah, we're done, we're out of JYP.
I know, same here. I do like the fact that Stray Kids does have a little bit of autonomy to themselves, where they have a lot of say in what they write and what they produce, and JYP does keep his grubby hands off of it a lot of the time. He does have occasionally. Oh God, no, we're coming back to those interesting TikToks. But I mean, he does occasionally have some hands in some of the singles, but a lot of times, like I said, the main writers are 3RACHA. So, like I said, 3RACHA has a main majority of the share of the writing. So, but yeah, I guess, should we get into our picks for Stray Kids songs?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I think I have like a like less than yours. So I'll just like
I always go way crazy on my picks. I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay. At least I was kind of glad, like, oh, okay, that's what I have. Okay, at least I have like, at least this amount of like song picks. But I'm gonna start off with like their official debut album, like not on like the pre-debut mixtape. So with the I Am Not debut album, so I have District 9. I think that was the song that I first heard from. Well, okay, technically that got me interested in Stray Kids, because I've heard My Pace before liking K-pop by thanks to my sister. Yeah, District 9, which is some like fun fact, or like some Easter eggs, since their label mates, the girl group Twice, Twice started out with like a cute zombie theme, Apocalypse, and which Stray Kids, or like I think Bangchan was featured in Twice's music video. Which years later, like had Stray Kids with their official debut, which also they borrowed some sets and props from Twice's song. Starting with with the bus and with like the zombie themes, and so it's kind of a fun fact to compare these two. So like Twice's Ooh Ah, I think that's their debut song, like Ooh Ah, and then
I think
Stray Kids District 9. Yeah, so like they like both share like the zombie themes, but have like their own different tones into it, because Stray Kids have like a more darker aspect into their music. But yeah, District 9 has got me like at least interested in hearing a lot of Stray Kids songs. And then moving on to their Clay series, so the Clay One Miro, which is my favorite album, K-pop album, and like my favorite album from Stray Kids, because it really tells like a story about like the youth, how like getting to be connect with like the youth relatable experiences. It's kind of like a storybook aspect. You see like a lot of us would encounter a lot of common obstacles of anxiety, depression, other like states of mental health, and even societal pressures, finding like like the right path in your life and discovering your identity and who you are. And they really succeeded in telling that story and being able to connect with their fans with like those really intimate experiences. And just to let you know, and also Miro is a term for May, so it perfectly encapsulates the symbolism and what like representing a youth struggling to find like their way into like a maze of maze of like being lost in your path and trying to find your way to like to your goal. So I like that, that symbolism. A lot of the songs I love from from the album, because I was really hyped when I first heard the entrance, the first track called Entrance, because it shows like it shows like Easter eggs and shows you like some snippets of like what they're gonna have in like their following songs. They really mixed it well into some kind of like a world music style kind of with the music in their introductory track. And after Entrance, we have like their title track Mirror, and then Victory Song, which is like the song that got me into like Stray Kids, or being like more interested into like seeing their other works. And Maze of Memories is probably my favorite one, because they're really like they really go hard with like their guttural delivery and their rapping. So I really love like Maze of Memories. And their closing song, which is 19, it kind of like leads into like a bit of a bittersweet feeling, because it kind of slows down, but it gives you like like a bittersweet feeling about like the dark things in life, and like what you've come to experience. So I like the closing music, or closing song from that album. Going into Clay 2 Yellowwood album with Side Effects, I heard that when I heard the compilation of like noise music from like in K-pop, and again, like I think other than BTS that talk about like a lot of relatable aspects like mental health and anxiety and depression, Stray Kids is another group that that delves into those topics. And it really goes well with the severe usage of like heavy EDM dubstep, and you can like see in their choreography where it's like it feels really manic in their performances, because it has like they really like have their arms flailing during the chorus line, and puts you off to the edge of your seat with making you feel uncomfortable, and they really succeeded in doing that. And I think it was something I personally analyzed of like the good use of like the yellow color, because it gives you like a really great like warning caution signs, making you feel like you're in a constant state of stress and nervousness. So I like how they use that. Even like the scribbly design graphics that they're able to like incorporate in many of their album covers. It can represent like your mind being in total disarray and total chaos with no clear like level-headedness into your state of mind. So I really love like how Stray Kids is able to like make that kind of like visuals into their music. And going to their final Clay album, which is Clay Levanter, with Double Knot. I love like the meaning behind the song, because Stray Kids, they explained it as the meaning of double knot is if you're tying your shoes into a double knot, it's like a way for you to represent fortifying your motivations and to reach a certain goal. So so that the double knot would be easy to come off as having a single knot in your shoes. So it can mean like your feelings of self-esteem that are unwavering, and you're able to feel more confident and sure of yourself, and you're able to like really like run to your goal. So that's what I love with that song. And with the recent albums, with Go Live, with God's Menu and Easy, those are my favorite songs from that album. And into their last repackaged album with In Life, I've said this with the top 10 2020 songs. I love the Tortoise and the Hare, because like the lessons they made about like society like pushing you into like putting into like like their expectations of what they want you to become, and then molding you into something that you're not. And like a lot of like the perspective of the kids telling people like just slow down and help me find my own way in life, and help me find a way to like do what I want to do. So that's what I love with that song, Tortoise and Hare. And Backdoor, which is like the single track in their album. So yeah, those are my selections of my Stray Kids, and hopefully I was able to delve into some of the songs, so I can get you to recommend into listening to the music too.
Yeah. So I'm gonna dig. I was a little deeper because I went into some of their B-sides. And obviously this is like me with ATs, where I really try to narrow it down. I swear to God, I think we put all of Clay Miro on here. Between you and me, I think we have all of Clay Miro on here because it is that good of an album. It's just
the Holy Trinity of Stray Kids.
This is like me putting freaking episode of epilogue Finn answer all the answer on AT's playlist because it's that good of an album. But anyway, going back to Stray Kids, we're gonna start with. I'm actually gonna put a couple of their songs from their mixtape, so their pre-debut release. I'm gonna put Elevator on there, which is their big pre-release song that they actually did a music video for. It is kind of brings that whole like idea of like just the distortion, like they're on a elevator, like again kind of this idea of like lost and trying to find your way in this crazy world, and it just kind of gets you started on this whole journey you're going with Stray Kids. And I mean, in this whole universe, like, I mean, we've talked about K-pop universes. Theirs is not as defined as some other people's, but they really are on this journey of like, it's just really this journey of self-discovery. And they do have left some like creative motifs and clues throughout their music videos, I think, with the compass. And they've left like a few other things with keys and stuff throughout their music videos in terms of motifs, in terms of finding your way throughout this journey called life. So, and this is kind of the start of that. So, I'm also going to add on there Yeah, Yeah, Yeah and School Life from mixtape. From their first official debut album, I Am Not, besides District 9, I'm going to add on there Grow Up. I think is a really fun track you should have on there. From I Am Who, I'm going to put My Pace. Yeah, very cheesy, very fun track. It does get stuck in your head. Kind of has like a bit of like, I think it has like, they kind of have like this really fun with the kind of like fun, like kind of like teasy side of them too. And you kind of get that with My Pace. And you kind of see that with this. I'm also on their Voices, Question, and Awkward Silence. I think are also great songs of theirs to put on there. I really like Awkward Silence because I really like kind of the play with the usage of the crow, which is a common thing they use in Asian, especially in South Korean. The crow is is the like blank for an awkward silence. I love the usage of that. So from I Am You, I am the title track. I Am You. Get Cool, which is a kind of a fun, chill track of theirs. I also really like the track NS. It reminds me a lot of Tortoise in the Hair, where they play a lot with opposites and stuff in the song. And it's just got some really interesting flow and some interesting wordplay throughout. They've been able to kind of play with that. It's really fun and just kind of interesting to dig into the Korean etymology behind this, especially between the Korean etymology and they flip between the English etymology too. There are a lot of fluent English speakers in the group. Obviously, Big Ten and Felix are very fluent in English. Both are from Australia. A resident Australians in the group, a resident Aussie line in Stray Kids, as well as Summon's pretty fluent in English. Han's pretty fluent in English. Hunchin's passable in English. He's surprisingly he says he's not, but he's passable in English. So there's quite a few English speakers in the group. So it's fun playing with the bit of the English and the Korean in that song. So from Clay One Miro, besides Miro and Maze of Memories, which Maze of Memories is hands down my favorite B-side of Stray Kids, I think.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I will put on their Boxer. It's just a really fun, amped up, like pumped up track, just to kind of fight for yourself kind of track. It's just again that whole self-discovery, just self-esteem. Really good with that. I also really like Chronosaurus. I love the usage of like the clocks and the usage of time in that song. The mysteriousness of it. I really love that. From Clay to Yellowwood, besides Side Effects, I will actually add a couple of the mixtapes I think you should listen to. I say mixtape number 2 and mixtape number 4. You should really listen to them. I think those are two of the best of the mixtapes from that album that you should take a listen to. Again, I think all 4 of them are great, but those 2 for sure you should listen to. From Clay Levanter, besides Double Knots, the title track Levanter, Booster, and Astronauts are really fun tracks off that album. I really like Booster and Astronaut. They're just really fun tracks. From Go Live, their first full album, again, the album that made me basically a permanent stay. besides God's Menu and Easy. I really like Ta. I think Ta's just a really fun hype track of theirs. It just really pumps you up. I really like Top. There's actually so Top is very interesting. Top was featured as the introduction to the Tower of God anime
Oh,
based
right.
on
Yeah.
based
I
on
keep
the
forgetting.
webcomic.
I keep
Uh,
forgetting that was like the top. Yeah, top is that from
yeah,
associated with the
for,
anime.
and I'm gonna say the Japanese version is featured as the introduction for the anime. This is the Korean version I'm gonna put on the playlist, but there's a Japanese, there's a Korean, and there's an English version of the song. All of them are great. I put the Korean version on the playlist, but yeah, it was featured as the intro for the anime, for the Tower of God anime. And then also from that album, Mixtape on Track, I think is a great song of theirs. Also go watch the music video. It's very K-drama-esque. Very K-drama / fanfiction-y. Just go watch it. And then from In Life, besides Tortoise in the Hair, which I think hands down is one of my favorite intro tracks of theirs, and Backdoor, I will add Any, which I think that, again, playing with word usage with Ani in any kind of, because Ani is no in Korean, so it's just, again, playing with that word, playing with the word usage. X, which in Korean is actually the literal translation is like crazy bastard in Korean, and it's a really fun kind of like more. It's a bit of more like a sadder song of theirs, but I really like it. I think it's got a really good message behind it. And then they have actually a couple unit songs on In Life too, and I really recommend you should go listen to We Go, which is a 3 Racha unit song. And then Wow, which I recommended back on our Thought playlist, which is Dance Racha. I really recommend you should go listen to that too. And then I had to throw this on there. It's a Japanese release, but I really, 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 really like the song. It's called All In. It was just released as a Japanese single towards the end of 2020. I really recommend it. I really like it. I'm going to throw it on the playlist. Even though it's Japanese, I really like it. So those are my picks.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, I really appreciate that you're able to like bring out like the more of the B sides to get like the more of a feel into their other and other stuff.
Their other sides. Other sides is
Other
great.
sides,
So
right?
yeah, I mean, there's, like I said, I mean, they've been killing it in the competition. I mean, like we knew was going to happen. We'll just see how it goes from here. I mean, obviously right now everything's kind of a little up in the air right now with the whole Hunjin kind of on quote unquote temporary hiatus situation. I mean, we haven't heard anything yet of him coming back.
Yeah,
Um,
but like even like the fans are like they're really pushing it too, and just like it's bringing back in Kingdom. I mean,
Well, it's
yeah,
like the international fans want him back. The Korean fans don't. That's the thing. It's like the Korean fans are still really, really adamant about the whole bullying thing, while the international fans are obviously a lot more forgiving. And so, like, it's a lot of push and pull. So, and with that, I think it's really hard. And it's just like, I mean, I don't want to push it. And it's like, especially because, like, I mean, stages are getting to the point that they're getting kind of annoying about pushing it back. It's like, can we just like focus on the other 7 members who are competing right now? Because like they're all in right now into competing on the show. I know what I did. To compete on the show, and they're killing it. I mean, I saw the performance today. Like, holy cow! Like they were amazing. So like they deserve all the hard work and effort that they're putting into it too. Without Hunjin being there. So much major credit to all the hard work that all 7 of them are doing right now to pick up
right.
the work and handle it while Hunjin's not there. So would it be nice if Hunjin was there? Yeah, it would be nice if Hunjin was there, but he's not right now. So, but I hope he can come back. I really, really do. I think he's really an integral part of this group. So
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's it for Stray Kids, and that's it for this week's episode of the Noonas podcast. I got nothing else
Yeah,
except
I
for
think
go
it's the
stream
2
ATs.
hour mark. I think we have the 2 hour mark for this episode.
Oh, Cedric's gonna be so happy. 2 hour show. We finally did it. We finally cracked 2 hours in the show. It took
Dun, dun,
Kingdom
dun,
and
dun,
80s,
dun,
or
dun, dun.
it took Kingdom and took Stray Kids and took a little bit 80s, I guess, at that point to do it.
Yay for the fourth gen groups.
Figures, right? Figures with us. I mean, what else is there to say at this point? But we're finishing up Rookiepedia next week, thankfully, with this massive marathon session that we're into. We have the boys next week, which interesting because they were the winners to Road to Kingdom. So we're gonna finish.
Yeah, it's a very fitting arrangement that we're doing here.
Yeah, so we're gonna have the winners from the previous show to wrap up our massive marathon session here, Wikipedia. Which I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be kind of happy to be done with these because like these have been a lot of research in these last 6 weeks.
To do these.
Yeah, well then we could just focus on like watching Kingdom and then just album reviews because I mean because May is coming or April's coming. No, April's here. May's coming. I've lost track. What month is it anymore? We lost because May's coming, and well, we've got rumored that BTS is supposedly coming back at the end of May now. So, yay! Supposedly rumored. Not confirmed yet. So we'll see what happens. But next week we definitely have a few more reviews. We have a lot of new music coming out next week. Because we got Day 6, we got New West. I think we have new Ace coming out next week. We got P1 Harmony coming out next week. We got a lot of new stuff again next week. So
West, P1 Harmony. Right.
Yep.
I'm just taking notes just in case I won't ask you again.
That's all right. You'll hit me up. So I'm definitely looking forward to P1 Harmony though. I already pre-ordered my albums. So I really like them. I think they're a really fun rookie group. But yeah, and then again, Kingdom Brown 2 begins. So, but like I said, go stream ATs. Do it. Go stream ATs. Go watch the Kraken.
Stream ATs. Yeah, go stream ATs.
Go watch someone shoot the Kraken. Sorry, I lost it when he was. Oh my god. Sorry.
May or may not like at some parts of the Caribbean stuff. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what ideas.
You are not. No, don't you dare start doing some crack edit. Don't you dare.
Kraken videos.
Lord.
With AT just to boost them into their view counts. Anyway,
if it helps the view counts, sure, I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Into my Kraken video. So.
Oh Lord. Okay, let's wrap it up. All right, we're gonna go further on. Why don't you plug your stuff?
Well, you can find me posting some Kraken videos maybe soon on at Noonas podcast on Twitter, Noonas_podcast on Twitter or on Instagram. But my personal pages, you can find me at Ginny Leano, so that's GINNYLEANO on Facebook, or you can check out my Facebook design page, which is at Ginny Leano Designs. And you can also find me on Instagram at Ginny Designs. And I will just post up my personal pages on those following links, so you can find all my personal pages with those links. And how about you, Jenny?
And you can find me, Jenny. You can find me simping for ATs over on Facebook, facebook.com/Jenny Matasek, JenniMatasek. Otherwise, you can find me over on Twitter and on Instagram at Chaos Bulldog. You can also find the show page for the Noonas podcast over on Twitter and on Instagram at Noonas_podcast. Don't forget the underscore. You can also find our Spotify playlists and SoundCloud links. Oh my God, I can speak. There. SoundCloud links for the show under those handles. SoundCloud or the Spotify playlist for this week's episode will also be included for that. There will be a very long playlist for Stray Kids, believe me. You can also find the video form of this podcast also on the Facebook page for the Metropolis Collective. Thank you once again, guys, for hosting our show. We very much appreciate it. This has been the Noonas podcast, aka we're simping for AT's hard, apparently.
2 hours of simping it for ATs and talking about Stray Kids.
The
14 leaders. The 14 leaders of
14
K-pop.
leaders. Alexa, play the leaders by ATs.
Oh! No!
No, I won't do that. I won't do that because then we're going to get hit with a copyright strike. But but with that, I'm going to sign us off with a resounding 18.
I think make the Stray Kids stay.